I feel like pretty good first two meets for us. The main thing that we talked about all fall was to come out strong, and you got to get started. It's really nice to get started in a quad meet on a podium. We had two opportunities to do it. Feel like we sort of blew up the first opportunity a little bit. We weren't who we were, but we really got settled down fast. So yeah, it's good. We accomplished what we wanted, but now we're at home and we're in SEC play. So now we gotta step it up.
Yeah, I guess what's your mentality? I know your first couple of meets, you just wanted to throw some stuff out there and maybe let some young people prove themselves. But I guess now, is it more of that, or what's kind of the mentality with lineups?
It's more of that. First off, I feel like our depth is good enough that we can continue to make those. We are not wasting meets by doing that. We are testing ourselves a little bit. So the first 5 meets of the year, maybe 6, we've always planned on staying nimble, putting other people in. We just need to have the judges look at them a couple times and give us some feedback. We know what we think, but we also got to know what the judges think. And one judging panel is not enough. Sometimes you need a couple. But no, we're not throwing away meets by experimenting. Now that might have been the case in the past when we weren't as deep, but we're deep, and I think the team understands that when somebody else gets an opportunity, that might have taken their opportunity away. That it is a really good opportunity to replace somebody in the lineup. So it sends a good message to the team, but we also get really good information for ourselves because in the end, the last 6 meets, SEC championships, NCAA postseason, we have to know what our scoring potential is, and we have to actually be able to play the game at the highest level. So, yeah, we're still I wouldn't say playing, we're still experimenting.
I think right before you got in here, I was talking with Sarah, and I was just bringing up how, you haven't been particularly shy. Or I mean, you brought it up that in 2022, you guys went to North Carolina, had the score that you had, and it's like, all right, that's just a starting point, right? I guess have y'all leaned on that experience with this group, or tried to? Is there anything else, any similarity, or anything you're trying to get them to take away from that kind of trajectory that you guys had?
I think the biggest similarity to 2022 was, I would say it's a culture, but it's a culture of belief. I think in 22, the team actually believed they were pretty good. And they actually, by the end of January, they understood that they had something special and they better take advantage of it. I'd say that's similar right now. A lot of times when people talk culture, it's everybody loves each other and stuff like that. That's not necessarily the case. Not everybody needs to love each other. You need to respect each other. You need to have a good chemistry where you can bring out the best in each other. But you also have to believe. And I think this group, what I think they're starting to see is that they're capable. It's a young group, but the 22 group was young. A lot of freshmen. It was a polar group. There was a lot of seniors leadership and freshman leadership in 22. We have that same thing going on. So there are a lot of similarities, but look, the field's tougher each year, so it's actually harder this year to do it. But I think I think talent-wise we're good, and I think culture-wise we're starting to believe how good we can be.
Through the first couple of weeks, talk a little bit about some of the underclassmen, how they've performed in those 2 quad meets.
Well, really well. I don't think I'll take one event. It's really never been a recipe for success to put 3 freshmen on beam and to go up against some of the best teams in the country and say, yeah, we're going to do it with 3 freshmen, and one of them's in the 5 spot. So I think that just states that this group is ready to go. We lead off with a freshman on beam, and she's been doing really well. We have Marissa Neal and Kiko right in the middle of the lineup, and they're scoring really well. Marissa had a great first meet on beam. I think you take that and you put that on all the events and start seeing what they're capable of. That's a really good thing for our upperclassmen, because the upperclassmen know the game and they're talented, but now they have to work for it. And I think there is a little bit of a reward that you get better when you work for it. You need to be tested. It's just too easy to be comfortable when you're a high-level athlete on one of these teams, and if we can be uncomfortable and be happy being uncomfortable, we're good. So that's the freshmen have made us uncomfortable, and that's a good thing.
And then, this is a hypothetical question, but as a coach, would you rather, from start of the season to the national championship, would you rather have everything be quad meets or head-to-heads?
Hypothetically, I'd like to have 16 meets with no buys. No, a mixture. I like quads. I think it's the best product. I think if we had, or I like duals. If we had quads here in Neville Arena, it would be really hard to pack this place after a while because they take too long. There's too much going on. But that's what postseason is like. So you do have to have a few of those to get yourself ready. I actually think dual meets are, if you're really good in dual meets, you're ready for quads. Because if you think about the quad meets, other things are going on while you're competing. It's easy to not feel the pressure. In a dual meet, the TV's on you, 9,000, 10,000 people are staring at just you. That's what separates the SEC is they sell out their arenas and they do one person at a time, and the anxiety and stress level is really high, but the reward is really high. So I'd rather have dual meets in the SEC because they prepare you for anything.
On floor, and I know you're probably, like you said, waiting on more feedback from judges, but the difference is, I guess, what, in the easiest way possible for a dummy like me, like, what are the differences and how do you think you guys have handled it so far? Or, like, what are you learning about it?
The difference, we plugged a couple loopholes that allowed really easy routines to do 2 passes and to get off the floor. And that's not fair to the people who are throwing more difficulty. So by plugging those holes, one of the things that got passed was combination bonus is what you need in order to get an additional bonus at the end. The old rule used to be double flip in your second pass and you get a 10th bonus. That we were encouraging actual D-tumbling in the second pass. But people's first pass became extremely easy because of a loophole. So now you have to combination bonus. You can't just do a double flip. You have to do a combination into it, which means throw another hard skill in your tumbling pass. Makes it significantly more difficult in the second pass. Or you have to do more leaps or have an E first pass. So there's a lot of if, ands, and ors in our rules right now. There's like 7 categories on floor now that you have to check the box on. So the simple thing is tumble harder or do a lot more leaps and execute at a high level. And all of those options are going to take a lot of energy out of the athlete to do a 2-pass floor routine. You can do a 3-pass floor routine, but you throw more skills, you give more options for people to take deductions. So you got to balance it out. Sophia Groth is still doing a 3-pass floor routine because her options are built for 3 passes and she doesn't give away a whole lot. But on paper, it's better to do a 2-pass floor routine, but it's higher risk.
But it was like someone with Olivia, and you probably have some others. It's like, okay, it's a challenge to do it, and we're just going to jump. We're going to try to jump to it. Is that something you could adjust through the season if someone's not doing well with it, or is it you're pretty committed to it?
No, we're adjusting, but we might just stay with a 2-pass and adjust around. That's what we did with Olivia's, move the tumbling passes, switch them around. We added she can dance, so she can do leaps and jumps, so that's a benefit. Not everybody can do that, so the people who can't do that are forced to tumble at a higher level. But most of the people who can't dance that are on our team that can't execute at a high level in those dance sequences are capable of powerful tumbling. So it's really a matter of figuring out each athlete, putting together a premier routine, and then going through your 17 categories that you have and making sure you're not missing something.